Hello, BookTube. I've got some mail for you today on a disappointingly cloudy day. Disappointing because it was supposed to be torrents of rain for the next 4 days, and that petered out. We had a little bit of rain in the morning, but then it stopped. It's not sunny, and it's brutally humid, but the downpours did not happen. And I don't think they're going to happen. The original forecast was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, at least, all rain. I don't think that's going to happen, so it's just damp outside. But aside from that, no disappointments at all. Of course, it's a boon when it's not actively raining, because my little bean, who's right next to me here, he's right here, my little bean does not like the rain. She does not like to go out in the rain at all. So it's a benefit there, is we do get to go on walks. But let's take a look at the mail and see if it has any Steve squealers. Now, the thing that I really want here is finished copies of May books. I have a whole shelf of May books, but almost no finished copies from May. I'll take April finished copies as well. Let's see here. What is this first one? Oh, great. Oh, fantastic. Okay, this is sent by one of you, but this was, you cleared it ahead of time. Great. This is the great New Yorker art writer, Peter O'Connell. And this is his book, The Art of Dying. This is a collection of his writings. He in the New Yorker was appointment writing. You got a new issue of the New Yorker for years and years. You got a new issue of the New Yorker. You looked for a few things. I did anyway. Look for a few things. I looked for their movie reviewer until he wrote pornography in a review, in which case I stopped looking for him and usually wouldn't read even near him for fear that he would contaminate contiguous pieces. But Peter O'Connor, another perfect example of the kind of thing where you open the table of contents and look for it, because he's so good. And this is a collection of all of that. Fantastic. One of you had it and duly asked, where am I going to put these things? The feng shui, because the bean is right here and she doesn't want to move. So the books can't go there. Well, okay. For those of you who are about to carp, especially you new people, I am aware that fussing about where you're going to stack the free books that you get in the mail is a bit of a privileged problem. I am aware of that. Okay, so no need for you to tell me. So let's move on here. Let's move on to the next one. Looking always from May finished copies. What is this first one? No, this is a June finished copy. Oh, okay. This is a June finished copy. It's Popular Science, so those of you who like that sort of thing might want to reserve this at your library. This is by Theodore Snow and Dawn Brownlee, and it's called The Sixth Element, How Carbon Shapes Our World. And there you have not only a diamond, but also the little inset pictures are a whole bunch of the different shapes that carbon takes. When we think of carbon, we might first think of a simple element near the top of the periodic table, symbol C, atomic weight number 6. Alternatively, we might think those things if we were nerds, sure. Alternatively, we might think of something more tangible, a sooty piece of coal or a sparkling diamond, both made of carbon. Or, as Earth's temperature continues to rise alarmingly, we might think of the role carbon plays in the climate change. Yet carbon's story begins long ago, far from earthly concerns. And the two authors here are astronomers, and in this book they tell the story of carbon from a cosmic perspective, how it was born in the fiery furnaces of stars, what special chemical and physical properties it has, and how it forms the chemical backbone of the planets and of all life as we know it. Fantastic. So this comes out in early June. So all of you carbon-based life forms, humans, us, all of you carbon-based life forms might want to read this. It sounds like it'll be really interesting. But it's June. So let's move on here, see if we can find something from May. What is this next one? No, this is also June. And also Popular Science. Okay, great. This is by David Mindell, and it is called The Network of Life, A New View of Evolution. In this book, the author explains why the conventional narrative of evolution needs to evolve. Oh, that's clever. I saw what you did there. Ever since Darwin, evolution has largely been thought of to work like a family tree in which species are related through a series of branching events. But today, a growing knowledge of the ways species share genetic materials is in in a process known as horizontal evolution, has revealed that evolution is actually a network of shared genealogy in which species are more interconnected than previously thought. In this book, the author presents this new narrative of life's evolution and its profound implications for all life on Earth. Okay, the general umbrella of the subject of horizontal evolution is not new. Maybe it's new to a popular audience. Maybe that'll be. Difficult times lay ahead for many of Earth's species as climate and habitats transform. At the same time, new and altered life forms are arising and spreading in association with human activities. We are also learning to reshape and create life by mimicking the mechanisms of horizontal evolution. And we are co-evolving with technology as we enhance our bodies, brains, and lifespans. Okay. We are not co-evolving with anyway. Okay, great. So is the author, please tell me that you have qualifications and that you're not a creationist? Senior researcher at the Museum of Vertebrate Zoology of the University of California, Berkeley. Okay, great. All right, fine. And the author of another book on evolution. Fantastic. So June. Another popular title, science title for June. Let's see what this next one is. It's got a nice weight to it. Could be a finished copy. Yeah, it's a finished copy of something. What have we got here? Oh boy, a lot of stuff from Princeton. That's lovely. Also June. So my June shelf is going to need rearranging. Okay, this is from Robert Looking and Toby Spribill, and it is a book, A Natural History of Lycan. I love academic presses. Existing at the margins of life, lichens are the result of symbiotic relationships between fungi and photosynthesizing partners in the form of algae or cyanobacteria. Comprising more than 20,000 species, lichens are pioneers in diverse ecosystems, colonizing virtually any surface and growing at almost any altitude. Found in rainforests, polar regions, desert, and your backyard, lichens embody a paradox of toughness and sensitivity, surviving trips to space, yet endangered by even the slightest environmental changes from industrial pollutions here on Earth. They grow everywhere, but only on their own terms, and no one has ever fully assembled a lichen in a lab from its component parts. Oh, okay, all right, well, I'm on board, definitely. Now, we've seen a lot of these big, the lives of, we've seen a lot of these guidebooks from Princeton. You know what they're like. They have beautiful illustrations and tons of text, and also distribution maps to let you know where the particular life form in question can be found. Fantastic guidebook to lichen. Okay. Well, as I've said many times before, I love my job. So let's see what this next one is. Oh no, it's Princeton again. Oh my. Okay, this is early June. Oh, I will write about this. I will write about this. This is by Christina Grosinger and Harlan Patch, and it is The Lives of Bees. This is in the same series, but it's The Lives of Bees. I knew an old lady once who had a deathly fear of bees. I adored her, and I loved poking fun at her. I would have given her a copy of this book. And she would have said, "What are you, wise?" But she would also have displayed it proudly on her coffee table. This book provides a one-of-a-kind look at the life and natural history of bees. Blending stunning photographs and illustrations with illuminating profiles of selected species, this incisive guide takes readers inside the world of these marvelous insects. Okay. Well, this is wonderful anyway. I mean, lichen, I don't know, but a book on bees, this is going to be fascinating. And once again, you get the same thing. You get gorgeous pictures, full text of natural history, and also the spaces where these incredibly endangered animals can be found. I wonder if we're going to get more in the life series. That would be wonderful. You got lichens and bees. Who's next? Bats would be wonderful, but I don't think I could be that lucky. Oh no, this is another one. Oh my God, these are all June the 4th. Oh, well I'm just going to have a stack of these things then. That's great. All right, so this next one, bees maybe, lichens no, but this one is going to be a hard pass for a lot of you, but you might want to rethink that. This is The Lives of Spiders. How's that for a cover? This is by Ximena Nelson. Spiders are dominant predators in virtually every terrestrial ecosystem on the planet. A marvel of evolution, with species numbering in the tens of thousands, They have been walking the earth since before the dinosaurs. Spiders manipulate the silk strands of their webs to act as a sensory field, which vibrates across wide frequencies which they can read in detail, while young spiders spin silk lines that interact with the electrical fields of the atmosphere, enabling them to balloon across huge distances. Some spiders even gather in groups to impersonate ants in astonishing displays of collective mimicry. And this book explores those and other wonders. So it's once again the same thing. You're going to get, this is the vampire spider. That's not going to help any of you anyway. I already hate these things. That is the vampire spider. It lives in a tiny area, just a tiny little speck. You can't even make it out. A tiny little speck of Africa. Oh, how incredible. So these books start off with an overview of evolution and also the general biological pattern of the animals. You get spiders through time, and there you see an evolutionary graph there of how early these things developed and what they were like. But then you also get their anatomy and their behavior. And then you move on to species. And this will deal with a few of those tens of thousands of species. But I love these volumes. There's not a whole bookcase of them by now. Let's see. Let's move on to this next one. Maybe something that's not about animals would be nice, or that about the human kind of animal. I hear a siren in the distance, so I may have to stop for a while. Oh, great. Okay, fantastic. All right. Here, let's get that off there. This is, surely this is May. No, this is June. All right, the June shelf is going to need rearranging. But this is the finished copy of Burma 44 by James Holland, World War II study. I think we saw this in advance. For the first time in the U.S., Grove Atlantic is publishing acclaimed World War II historian James Holland's second leading backlist title in the UK, Burma 44. Oh, so when did this originally come out? This is coming out in mid-June. But this had an original publication, 2016. Okay, so this is almost a decade old. Offering a dramatic tale of victory against incredible odds, the author chronicles the astonishing Allied victory in the Battle of Admin Box in Burma, now Myanmar, the turning point of the war in the Far East. Okay, so Grove now has the right at least to publish this. Well, it wouldn't be great if they brought out hardcovers of all of Holland. That'd be wonderful. Well, that's fantastic. I love this historian. So, I've read, I think, only one dedicated history of the Burma theater. I think I've only read one. I really liked it, but it was much longer than this. This is not a long thing. Okay, great. So, work of World War II history. Fantastic. All right, let's forge on here. I clearly jinxed this whole thing by asking for May finished copies, because that is clearly going to be the one thing I don't get. That's all right. June is its own month. It's necessary as well. So let's see what we have here. Let's see what this next one is. Oh my, it's a novel. Boy, we haven't had many of those so far, right? Let's see what this is. It's from the great folks at Minotaur Books. The whole neighborhood is just seething with sirens. It's only a matter of time until, this one will be. That's from the people in the neighboring town who no doubt saw all the rain and shot at it with their guns, with their illegal guns, and maybe hurt each other in the process. So let's see, when does this come out? Now that I've done with all this preliminary stuff, this comes out in August. This is by Sarah Stewart Taylor, and it is called Agony Hill, a mystery. Fairly effective cover there, I think, because you've got the atmospheric sky and the tree and the fairly normal-looking house with a weather vane, but your eye is drawn immediately to wonder what is going on in the windows. Turns out nothing unusual is going on in the windows, but you're drawn there, and that's neat. That's a good cover design. So what have we got here? Sarah Stewart Taylor is known for her critically acclaimed literary police procedurals featuring Maggie D'Arcy in Ireland. Now, she focuses on a new historical murder mystery series closer to where she resides. Agony Hill is set in rural Vermont in the volatile 1960s. And it captures a time gone by with deeply layered characters and introduces readers to Detective Frank Warren and his enigmatic neighbor, Alice Bellows. Okay. Well, okay, she's enigmatic, except in 2024 she's not completely enigmatic because he can't be the star of the show. So she's enigmatic. Maybe she'll be a murder suspect. We'll find out as we read on. But she has to be the key to solving the mystery. She has to solve it on her own. It can't be he that comes up with it. Mysteries just don't act that way anymore. It's firmly sexist. But I think that the 60s in Vermont were volatile mainly because of the birth of a certain horrible monster in that decade, in that blighted decade. In the hot summer of 1965, Detective Frank Warren arrives in Bethany, Vermont to take position as the state's Bureau of Investigation. The tiny, picturesque town is the opposite from Frank's home in Boston. He hasn't been there a day before he's called out to Agony Hill after a barn fire left one dead. Hugh Weber was found in the ashes of his barn with the door barred from the inside. The case seemed to be suicide, but things aren't adding up to Frank. The people of Bethany, from Weber's wife to Frank's neighbor Alice, have secrets they'd like to keep, but Frank can't tell if the circumstances surrounding Weber's death is one of them. Okay. Okay, so this comes out in August, so I'm not going to get to it. I'll probably be spurred to read it when I get the finished copy. I'm going to make two predictions now. One is that Alice will be the key to solving the mystery to Frank. She will give him the information he needs to solve the mystery. And two is that at the end of the book, they'll be either sweethearts or married. Now, we'll see. This author could surprise me on both those counts. That would be wonderful if she did. So that's a Vermont-based murder mystery coming out in August. So I want to make sure that the date is visible here to me when I fold this. Where did the date go? It disappeared completely. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's for the August shelf. The June shelf gets a little bit of a relief. I'm kind of tempted to get to it, but I'll leave it be. And let's move on here to the next one. Any material here? No. What do we got here? Oh, okay, great. All right, so we don't have a sheet for this, and I don't therefore have a date for it. I'm hoping it's a May book, but I could be wrong. This is by Kim Wagner, and it is called Massacre in the Clouds, an American Atrocity and the Erasure of History. So we'll just read the dust jacket like we were encountering this in a bookstore. Between Wounded Knee and My Lie, another American atrocity occurred, bigger than either, yet largely forgotten today. But for the existence of a single photograph, it would have been entirely lost in time. How fascinating. In March of 1906, American soldiers on the island of Jojo in the southern Philippines surrounded and killed 1,000 local men, women, and children known as Moros on top of an extinct volcano. The so-called Battle of Budajo was hailed as a triumph over implacable bands of dangerous savages, a brilliant feat of arms, according to President Theodore Roosevelt. Some contemporaries, including Webb Du Bois and Mark Twain, saw the massacre for what it was, but they were the exception. The U.S. military authorities buried the story. Though the slaughters of Moros had been captured on camera, the memory of the massacre soon disappeared from the historical record. In this book, the author meticulously recovers the history of a forgotten atrocity and the remarkable photograph that exposed its grim logic. His vivid, unsparing account of the massacre reveals the extent to which practices of colonial warfare and violence derived from European imperialism were fully embraced by Americans with catastrophic results. So, question number one is going to be, do we get that photo? I'm sure that we do. I don't know that I get it. Well, this is the finished copy, so it should be here. If I were formatting this book, it'd be the very first thing you see. We get a map, the very first thing. Well, it must be in here, of course, but question number two is far closer to home. Let's go to the index for question number 2 and take a look at the letter T. Yeah, Taft has a lot of entries in here. Oh my, okay. Taft, Philippines, the Roosevelt administration, that's inevitable. And who is the author when he's at home? That's his cover photo. It would kill you to smile. You get a book. Not everybody has a book. He's a professor of global and imperial history at Queen Mary, University of London. Okay, and he's the author of several other books, including Amritsar in 1919, which I think I reviewed. I'll have to check that. I think I wrote about that book. Okay, there's a ton of blurbs on the back. All right, so I just need to find the date on it. We don't know the date, but All right, let's move on to this next one here. Oh, it's two. It's no wonder it was big and heavy. It's two things. Let's see. Okay, so the first one is an advance copy for September. I think we might have seen this already. This is a September book. This is by Mario Livio and Jack Shostak, and it Is Earth Exceptional? The Quest for Cosmic Life. And this comes out in September. Scientific breakthroughs over the last several centuries, Copernicus' heliocentric model of the solar system, which the current Speaker of the House of Representatives in the United States does not believe, Darwin's theory of evolution, which the current Speaker of the United States in the House of Representatives, the third most powerful person in the government, does not believe, and Watson Crick Franklin's deciphering of the helical structure of DNA, to name a few, have greatly informed our understanding of life on Earth and of our place in the cosmos. Through the efforts of biologists, chemists, and astrophysicists, we have learned more about the characteristics of life and about the existence of numerous rocky planets orbiting other stars in the Milky Way. The exoplanets that we're uncovering, thousands of them. Despite all this knowledge, questions regarding the origin of life and whether extraterrestrial life exists remain largely shrouded in mystery. Well, yeah, despite all this knowledge, but what good is the knowledge if 2/3 of the people on Earth don't believe it? 2/3 of the adults in the United States do not believe that the Earth goes around the sun. They don't believe in the idea of evolution by means of natural selection. They don't believe it. They tell their kids bring their homework home, and they tell their kids that stuff's not true. So the kids are inclined not to believe it in a make-your-own-reality world of the 21st century. What difference does it make if this knowledge is advancing? If all the people who make the laws and have the power don't believe it? For years, scientists have deemed questions such as how life on Earth began and whether we are alone in our galaxy far too difficult, even impossible, to answer. Yeah, I hope you're not going to tell me they're not. The authors combine their expertise to provide a serious, comprehensive exploration of these questions. There is a strong epistemic incentive to understand the origin of life and whether life on Earth is a rare chemical accident or an inevitable outcome. As the authors detail here, recent progress has left us more equipped than ever to unveil the mysteries of how life began and whether or not it was a cosmic imperative. It was not a cosmic imperative. But we know already from astrophysical discoveries that cyanobacteria, the lichen that we've seen, they can exist in the vacuum of space, and they come from space. They are out there. So if they rain down on this planet, they can rain down on other planets. So it's entirely likely, in fact, staggeringly likely, that a lot of those exoplanets have scum, bacteria. I wonder, people who look at this title, I wonder if they're going to equate that with sentient, self-regarding, technological life, which I believe is a staggeringly rare thing. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we were the only one in this entire galaxy. I think that the proper understanding of the roulette wheel of chances against that leads you to believe that it's almost impossible for a species to evolve to do what we're doing right now. I'm talking to a piece of technology that's mass-produced with fire, with radioactivity, with all sorts of tensile components, and then shipped out to a being who can understand it and use it to do this. Which, in science fiction stories, this is considered unbelievably primitive, stone knives and bearskins, but I would be willing to bet that this level of technology exists nowhere else in this galaxy. Because there are so many factors against it. So many. This is incredibly, incredibly lucky that humans developed a super intellect necessary to do all of this stuff and understand it in an environment that allowed them to take advantage of that understanding. You could have all the intelligence in the world that you want. If you live in the ocean, you're not going to develop technology because you need fire. If you live on land and you have all the sentience in the world, but you don't have manipulative fingers, you're not going to develop technology because you need to do that. You need to build things. So what difference does it make if you're, an elephant or a sea lion? You can't build things, so anyway. And that's to say nothing of the environment, right? You could be going like gangbusters. There could have been a manipulative, intelligent, tentacle or finger-possessing species on Mars. A wonderful world with a mild climate, beautiful skies at night, large, lush, life-filled green water oceans. And then the environment just goes away. The atmospheric protection goes away. The planet's magnetosphere weakens to almost nothing. All of a sudden, nothing can live there. It's bombarded by lethal radiation all the time. Or you are living on a beautiful, fertile plateau. Forests as far as the eye can see, full of dangerous predators, yes, but also beautiful animals. Maybe there are ectomorphs or platters of flesh that fly through the air in flocks, and you get to see the beautiful, gorgeous sunrise and sunset on a powerful blast furnace of a sun. But then your climate goes out of control because you're the planet Venus. And you're volcanically active, so billion years later, when people drop probes on your surface, they have no idea that you ever existed. None at all. No trace left of any of that. Earth has spared those things. So far, spared those things. Suppose you're spared those things. Suppose you're Earth, you have a strong magnetic field and a shielding atmosphere, you're the exact right distance from the sun. You have a gigantic moon that scours your orbit for satellite impacts. If you just look at the moon, it's covered in satellite impacts that didn't hit us because they hit the moon. Suppose you're lucky, and you're Earth, and you get to that position. And then suppose Proxima Centauri blows up. Suppose Proxima Centauri, just a few light years away, goes supernova. And the front wave of that lethal, annihilating radiation sweeps through your solar system, sterilizes all the worlds. If you are mollusk-type life living down in the depths of the black, sunless ocean of a moon of Jupiter, you might survive that. But you won't if you're a life on Earth. Anyway, I should get back to the book, shouldn't I? Is Earth exceptional uniquely approaches these vast topics by focusing on the essential question, how likely is it for life to emerge on the surface of a potentially habitable planet? Very likely, but if you are a narcissist, meaning if you are a human, you're thinking us. How likely is it for us to emerge? That's not the same thing. Cyanobacteria can live in all sorts of... Extremophiles can live down in the vents of the ocean, away from the sunlight. They evolved without any sunlight at all. The only life that did on Earth. If it can happen here, it can happen there, but not us. That's not us. That's scum. Or spiders. In their quest to answer this, the authors emphasize the symbiosis between their fields of study, astrophysics and biochemistry. These parallel specializations directly propel each other. For example, astronomers finding evidence of life on other planets would support the idea of an inevitable geochemical path to life. Excuse me. Such discoveries would aid in the lab efforts to recreate life, the right initial conditions and chemical reactions that could serve as prerequisites for life to emerge, thereby teaching us about how life on Earth began. And in other directions, successfully discovering the path to life from chemistry in the lab supports the chance that nature has created such paths of life at various places in the galaxy, motivating further search for life on extrasolar planets. Okay, I agree, and I like it, except for that word created. I don't want that word created to be there, but I guess there's no way to avoid it. But anyway, that comes out in September, now that I've let the authors get a word in edgewise. But the other book in this package is the finished copy of something that we've already seen. So we've got a lot of supporting material. Oh my God, look at all this supporting material. Why do you think I need all this? I absolutely do not. What is all this? It's lots and lots of blurbs. It's a little bit of some pointers. In an interview, the author is prepared to discuss, and then a huge bullet point list of things the author is prepared to discuss. That's not an interview. Okay, that's publicity. That's PR. But the book is something that we've seen before, and it comes out in June. I'm just going to get bombarded with June books. I should have kept my mouth shut. This is the finished copy of CIA, The Imperial History by Hugh Wilford. In the popular imagination, officers of the Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA, are conventionally known as spies. Their work is largely classified, but they're understood to gather intelligence, carry out covert operations, and handle matters of national security. There is a certain amount of intrigue surrounding the agency. Okay, did the person write all this for fun? Is this supposed to be humor? Po-faced humor? Gather intelligence, carry out covert operations, handle matters of national security, assassinate world leaders, overturn democratically elected governments. Those two things somehow didn't make it onto the list. There is a certain amount of intrigue surrounding the agency. Do tell. Do they, I don't know, kill presidents? What is publicly known about it is shaped by the works of fiction that glamorize it, while the few widely known real-life CIA operations, including the spy battles against the Soviet KGB agents during World War II, or the Cold War, and missions to hunt and ultimately kill Osama bin Laden in the wake of the 9/11 attacks. Okay, thought it was SEAL Team 6 that did that. But what of the origins of the CIA? As the historian, the author notes in his upcoming book, the agency was officially founded in 1945 in response to tensions with the Soviet Union. Yet to understand the full impact of the CIA, the author argues that one must take a broader look at its history, even beyond the U.S.'s earliest unofficial examples of intelligence and counterintelligence during conflicts like the American Revolution and the World Wars, to the formation of other Western secret organizations. Organizations in countries like Britain and France operated imperially, using espionage to maintain control of their various colonies. The author shows that, despite being staunchly anti-imperialist in its inception, the CIA ultimately functioned in the same way as its foreign predecessors, as a tool of covert American power. Okay, and the author is a professor of history at California State University, Long Beach, and has written 5 other books. Great. Okay, fantastic. And this comes out in early June. And I know I always say you can't tell anything by an author photo, but that is a trustworthy face. That is the face of an author who will not skate over his research. Whether or not I agree with the results of that research is another thing. But that's I like the look. I know I'm being swayed by externals here, but this is the finished copy of the CIA. So I can get rid of the advanced copy. But I don't think I've received... Have I received anything from May yet? I don't think I have. That'll teach me. What is this next one? Let's see here. Okay, we've already seen this as well. And this also has a million different little details. What is this author prepared to discuss? I'll decide what you're prepared to discuss in an interview, Seymour. You won't. Good Lord, more stuff. Let's just get rid of all this stuff. This is a June release. Okay, so my June list. I'm looking at the June shelf over there. David Murphy was here a couple of months ago. We redid my work shelf of the upcoming books. We decided that we needed less space because I wasn't, since COVID, I'm not getting as many review copies. But the June shelf is completely full. And I've got 10, 15 books here that are all June releases. So this is going to be a disaster, and I blame David Murphy. But anyway, let's see here. So this, I suppose I should show you what this is. We've already seen this. This is the finished copy of The Final Act of Juliet Willoughby by Ellery Lloyd, which is a writing couple. They're a writing duo. So what have we got here? Even in a surrealist exhibition designed to shock, Self-Portrait as Sphinx drew gasps. In that packed Paris gallery in 1938, the painting's central winged figure, half woman, half feline, stared defiantly back at the assembled crowd, who leaned in to better decipher the intricate scenes playing out around her. A boat crossing an inky lake, a drowned young woman, a red-haired girl feeling through a forest. She's fleeing through that forest. If she's feeling through a forest, she really ought to keep it to herself. That's just a typo. That's all. Hailed as a masterpiece, but withdrawn by its creator, runaway English heiress Juliet Willoughby, after a single night on display, it was believed destroyed in an accidental studio fire that took both her life and that of her older married artist lover. Or so it was believed. In 1990, Cambridge art history student Caroline Cooper stumbles across evidence suggesting that not only was the fatal fire set deliberately, but that Juliet's painting, whose intricate scenes she believes together may tell a chilling true story, if only she can decipher it, survived. Did she? What Caroline uncovers next threatens to expose the long-buried secret of Juliet's aristocratic family and, along with a sudden and unexplained disappearance, revives rumors of a curse that has haunted the Willoughbys for generations. And a shocking murder in present-day Dubai may hold the key to finally unraveling it all. Okay. Great. All right, so this is a jet-setting thing from the pre-war streets of Paris to Cambridge glamour of the present-day Dubai. And this is from the authors who did We Begin at the End. No, the author of We Begin at the End, Chris Whitaker, praises this thing. But what do we know? What do we know about these two? We're not having any trouble with. Ellery Lloyd is a pseudonym for the London-based husband and wife writing team of Colette Lyons and Paul Vlitos. Colette studied art history at Trinity College, Cambridge, and worked as a journalist and editor in Dubai and London. So art history and Dubai, those are elements in the book. Paul is the author of 2 previous works, Welcome to the Working Week and Every Day is Like Sunday. He's professor of creative writing at the University of Greenwich. How do I know Welcome to the Working Week? I swear I know that title. There's no chance that I do. I could swear that I know that title. Well, anyway, this is yet another June release. Where did I see that date? I want that date to be nice and prominent when I do my little origami routine here. Not that it matters. All these things are going on the June shelf, almost all of them. The final act of Juliet Willoughby. One of those split time frame novels that are really popular. The aforementioned Feng Shui. And then we're almost done. This is the last one. This is we've got a box here to finish things. A box that is sealed like Fort Knox. Never a good sign. Let's see. Oh my God. Okay. No. Okay. The scissors don't work. I'm just going to have to destroy this. All right. Well, that's all right. That's okay. Let's get this all out of the way. What have we got here? Oh my. Okay. Fantastic. Oh, okay. All right. We have more historical fiction, but this is much more the usual type of historical fiction. This is by Alison Weir, who, along with Carol Erickson and a couple of other people, blazed the trail in the modern era of historians writing fiction. Of course, that trail has now been followed by Dan Jones, who wrote and still writes his serious history, but who wrote his Essex Dog books that have swept the Dude Bro reading world. And Alison Weir has written a lot of historical novels, and I have reviewed quite a few of them. I've reviewed this author quite a bit. I'll have to check to see how many. She did her fiction. She did the Six Tudor Queen series, where she did a novel on each of King Henry VIII's wives. A played-out gimmick for novels, but there was a lot of meat on those bones, and that was Catherine Parr, Catherine Howard, Anne of Cleve, Jane Seymour, Anne Boleyn, and Catherine of Aragon. And I think I reviewed at least 2 of those in the mainstream press. But this is The Passionate Tudor, a novel of Queen Mary. How's that, huh? This is a novel of Queen Mary I. I don't have a sheet for this, so I don't know when this is coming out. I'm assuming June. Just going by the odds, I'm assuming in June. But let's see what the Dust Jacket has to say about Bloody Mary. Born from young King Henry's first marriage, his elder daughter, Princess Mary, is raised to be queen once it becomes clear that her mother, Catherine of Aragon, will bear no more children, no more living children. However, Henry's passion for Anne Boleyn has a devastating influence on the young princess's future. When, determined to sire a male heir, he marries Anne, has his marriage to Catherine declared unlawful, brands Mary illegitimate, and banishes them both from the royal court. But not together. Henry's behavior towards his wives is often viewed rightly as monstrous. I always think that one of the most monstrous things is that he never let mother and daughter meet each other. They both pleaded with him for that, and he never let it happen. But when Anne, too, fails to produce a son, she is beheaded, and Mary is allowed to return to court as the default heir. At age 20, she waits in vain for her own marriage and children, but who will marry her? Bastard that she is. Yet Mary eventually triumphs and becomes queen, after first deposing a 17-year-old usurper, Lady Jane Grey, who Alison Weir has written both a novel and a history about. Am I right about that? Innocent Traitor was the novel, and then wasn't there also a biography of... Oh God, there's so many books listed here. I could swear that she wrote a novel about Jane, but I thought she wrote a biography of Jane as well. Well, anyway, let's go on here. First deposing the 17-year-old usurper, Lady Jane Grey, and ordering her beheading. She very reluctantly killed Jane Grey, but she did. Any hopes that Mary, as the first female queen regnant in England, will show religious toleration are dashed when she embarks on a ruthless campaign to force Catholicism on the English by burning hundreds of Protestants at the stake. But while her brutality will forever earn her the name Bloody Mary, at heart she is insecure and vulnerable woman, her character forged by the unhappiness of her earlier years. You can't, as I've said many times before, I've written about Queen Mary many, many times, both fiction and nonfiction. I'll try to leave a list of the reviews down below, but you can just look online. You just Google it if I don't do that. But as I point out on almost all those occasions, there is no way around those thousands of dead people. There is no way around those screaming, burning bodies. There's no way around them. If there were 4 or 5, maybe. Still be barbaric. But it wouldn't be this. There's no way around those. Those burning bodies, screaming for an hour at a time at Smithfield, prevent you forever from writing a sympathetic account of Queen Mary. Just can't do it. No matter how many people have tried. Carol A. Erickson tried in a book called Bloody Mary. And there have been many, many other tries. Hilda Lewis wrote a fantastic historical novel about Queen Mary. It doesn't work. It can't work. But anyway, we now know that she burned all those thousands of people because she had an unhappy childhood. In this masterful novel, the drama of Mary I's life and 5-year reign, from her abusive childhood, marriage, mysterious pregnancies, to the cruelty that marks her legacy, come to vivid life. Well, it is an incredibly fruitful grounds for a historical novelist. So, and Alison Weir has pleased me with her fiction many times. So there you go. I just need to find the date on this thing. But we've got Tudor fiction. There'll be other Tudor fiction, but this is a major thing. Alison Weir is a big name. And this is a well-known subject. People might not know anything about Mary I, but they've heard the name Bloody Mary. Fantastic. Fantastic. I automatically, naturally, I also incline towards this. I'm hoping that it's a May or a June release so that I can read it tonight. I'll look it up and find out. But I incline towards it because, of course, as I've mentioned before, I am in a Pinky Promise duet for NaNoWriMo this year, in which I'll be writing Tudor fiction. I know already what NaNoWriMo is going to be. I know what my subject's going to be. I'll be writing Tudor fiction. So I'm naturally interested in anything like this. What a way to end the mail haul. All right, well, there we go. Sorry for the length of this mail haul, almost an hour long. We have The Passionate Tudor. I don't want to start copying right away, but that's a dumb title. That's a dumb title. Is anyone going to claim that Henry wasn't passionate? Henry VII wasn't passionate. And I think there's a strong argument to be made that Edward was not passionate. But, and I don't know that you can use the word passion to describe what animated Mary. But I'll be digging right into this. So we have Tudor historical fiction. Then we have the final act of Juliet Willoughby, also partly historical fiction, but far more recent vintage. We have the CIA and Imperial History, in which the author makes a case, it has been made many times before, that the CIA is an imperial arm, that it has been working for America's overseas aims, rather than intelligence gathering or anything neutral like that. Then, is Earth exceptional? I think the authors mean here in terms of supporting life, not just in terms of supporting HBO. Then we have Massacre in the Clouds, take you back to the Roosevelt administration. Very good that there's a book on this subject. We have Agony Hill, going back to rural Vermont, where something really goes wrong in the 1960s. You can't expect me to ignore that. Then we have more history. Burma 44. Great. So the history stuff is all over the map here. Oh, I'm not going to be able to do these others, because these are all the others here, or these next 3 are these big science books. That one of them at least I will review, but I should send these out to you. If any of you have, actually I know exactly where these can go. I know exactly where they can go. But I'll be writing about the B volume, definitely. Then The Network of Life, a new book on evolution. The Sixth Element, not to be confused with The Fifth Element, the great movie, The Fifth Element. This is The Sixth Element on carbon. And finally, A Gift, The Art of Dying. Collected essays, which, regardless of the dates of any of the others, this will go on the pile for tonight. I will have a wonderful time. How is this actually organized? This is just the joys of 19th century drawings, Goya, Metropolitan Museum at 150. What are artists for? I remember that one. just fantastic. This will just have a bunch of... I don't know that I'll read the whole thing from start to finish, but this will have a bunch of stuff that I want to read. Just great. I mean, this writer, like many art critics, elevated and praised frauds, just because I guess it gets boring there at the top. But he also wrote about a lot of things that really interest me. So fantastic. That goes on the reading list for tonight, regardless of what the dates are on any of these other things. But I'm hoping that the Tudor book, I'm really itching to read that, of course, and I'm hoping that the date is close enough. I'll look it up. It's probably a June release. But anyway, good Lord. What a long mail haul. That is the mail for today. I will wrap this up for now, but we'll be back. I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.